get it together because the show is on.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Fri YAY.
Happy Friday. We're here to continue our conversation. Did you think we weren't going to talk for a second? We both looked at each other. We're here to continue the conversation about branding.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been following along, which hopefully there's some repeat viewers in
I
there.
hope so.
You have probably seen that we've done a lot of talk about branding, what it is, how to do it, and just some different considerations to make along the way. So now we're getting into some more fun stuff with the types of branding.
Yes, breaking it down and explaining the different categories and groupings of what to brand, what can you brand, and etc.
Right, and within that of, different types of businesses and industries and the way they brand and all the things they have to do in their branding, all the things that need to cohesively come together and have one overall style or design to them. So
yeah,
let's dig in.
All right, so first up, the first one is product branding. This is my personal favorite, and it's the number one thing that most people don't actually think about. So when you're walking down a grocery store aisle or any department store, everything you'll notice is branded, but you won't notice it. And it's been branded by the company specifically for you to grab your interest, to have even, the packaging, the messaging, and to kind of get brand loyalty as well.
Yeah, it's huge, and it's very influential in purchasing decisions. So considering those color choices, the font styles, just kind of the emotions and that you want to evoke in people and the way you want to make them feel, you can do that with your product branding.
Yes, and so an example that we have is Starbucks. So Starbucks has many different avenues nowadays. They have things in grocery stores, they have all their cups and their branded coffee. So, one of the things you can buy at the store, even the grocery store, any gas station, is, I don't know if it's going to show up.
That light is
there we go, is their different little Frappuccino cups. And Starbucks loves to change their packaging for the season. And they have a huge, almost cult following, if you will. So their brand loyalty is practically built off of their packaging. They even have creamers.
Takes a minute for it to focus.
That they design and they keep branded. They have down to their gift cards that they use and their coffee. So sometimes in the summertime, they will brand specifically for the design, and it kind of grabs attention. And if they notice something isn't selling very well, they'll try changing the packaging and see if it sells any better.
Yep, that's a good way to solve a problem, is to just change the design and see if it's more appealing to your consumer. So that's really fun. I know you love working on product brands.
I do. They're a lot of fun.
That was one of the things in Kara's portfolio when she applied for the job, was I saw that she had done some work with, you designed an olive oil bottle.
Olive oil
So
bottle.
pretty.
A book cover design. They're a lot of fun, and you can be a lot more creative with it too, which makes it, I think that's why I like it so much.
So if you have products that you need branded,
come my way.
She's your girl. Yeah, we'd be really excited to work on something like that. It's not something we come across very often in the kind of network and area that we're in. So, but what we do come across a lot,
yes,
and have done some good work on, is personal branding.
Yep, it seems to be our almost specialty.
Yeah. What is personal branding?
So personal branding, it falls along the lines of most politicians, athletes, celebrities, bloggers, and influencers. And one of the examples we have to show for you is one of our bloggers, Taylor, and we created her website and her branding that she follows through onto her social media. And so personal branding is different. It can evolve over time. Some can, have merchandise, but it usually will start out with their website and their social media. So for Taylor, we created her logo, which looks like this. And so we had her colors and her font choices. Is it working? I really can't see.
It's kind of whited out. It's washed out a little bit.
We'll post them down in the comments.
But if you hold it back a little bit further, it feels
Does it work better? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
There's kind of a...
So this is her business card. And so we've branded it with her color and then her logo and then her information, of course. And then onto her website.
Yep, so we followed through with the branding on her blog with her colors of just different ways that we kind of implement those colors in there in different sections and different color blocking so that it really made the content stand out, but it all blended together nicely and was very easy on the eyes and easy to follow as well.
And it kind of followed her personality as well. That is the one thing with personal branding is that the individual who it is very involved in the process, and because it speaks for who they are. The brand is themselves. And so we followed it through on her social media, on Instagram, the little story bubbles, and some of her posts incorporate the same fonts and colors.
Yeah. A side note, if you are interested in following Taylor, she has an amazing blog. It's taylorpatrice.com, and she is a phenomenal writer, really, really interesting perspective on life and some of life's bigger issues without being controversial about it. So she blogs about a variety of topics, but we love Taylor, so I'll promote her for a second.
Yeah, and her Instagram is really fun to follow as well, especially right now.
Right, she just moved to Germany.
Yes.
So she's on some new fun and exciting adventures.
The next one is corporate branding. So, your banks and your larger corporate type businesses. So, for example, we'll use Navy Federal. So Navy Federal, they'll have, the same branded colors on their website. They'll have mainly printable materials. So when you go to the bank and you get a portfolio and then you get all the little handouts, your debit card and your credit card, those are ones people, again, because they're everyday necessities that you don't typically think about, but they did brand them accordingly to follow their message. And the next one.
You didn't show your examples. So.
Oh, thank you. So even down to what the staff wears, their shirts and, their business cards is all going to follow along the lines of their messaging. So, their debit card and their credit card, blue and red, and then some of the other ones vary. So like one other one is green and etc.
Okay. So that takes us to an interesting turn into geographical branding, which is kind of a fascinating one that a lot of people probably don't think about. But there are specific services and products that are just in a particular region or area that it gets marketed to. So what's your example for?
On a larger scale, the Met in New York City, so it's mainly branded for that geographical area. But because it is so wide known, it can be larger, but they have their logo. Is it going to show? There we go. So they have, the red one, and then for them, all their events, all of the flags, all of the printouts, all of the banners on the front match their brand.
For something local, though, we do kind of have some good examples around here in the Hampton Roads region. If you're watching from somewhere where we're near where we're sitting, because this is a tourist area where people pay money to come on vacation. I think of, when geographical branding, I think of like Visit Norfolk.
Yep.
They have the cute little orange Norfolk mermaid logo, and I love that. I love the mermaids and how they're sprinkled throughout all of their branding. Everything's done in orange and white. It's very eye-catching and engaging. And everyone who, maybe everyone from here or that lives here doesn't know about the mermaids.
I do.
But Yeah, I think after you live here for a minute and you start seeing mermaid statues everywhere, you ask some questions.
Right, or you Google the questions, going, why is there so many mermaids?
And then you find the map on the Visit Norfolk site
of all
where
of the
you can
mermaids.
go mermaid hunting. It's really fun. I love it. I'm obsessed.
And what's the next one?
The next kind is something that's more popular and we do think about a lot is retail branding. So different retail stores want to brand their whole store and everything they sell so that it's memorable and it's kind of an experience for people to walk into the store.
Right, and I mean, down to the details, of in the clothing, the tags on the clothing, the emails that you receive, the loyalty program cards and everything.
Everything that's on the walls, the way that the lighting is, and that the displays are set up.
How it's labeled on the clothing, the bags, your printable bags, and even your receipt. So, for example, American Eagle. So you have the standard eagle, and so when you walk in the store, a lot of times there'll be, I don't know if that's going to show up.
Back a little bit.
It's going to be really small. It's the floor, and on the flooring, if you sometimes will notice, especially the newer ones, will have like an A and an E on the floor when you walk into the store. Even their windows have their logos on it. The clothing has it in the back, so their displays even, they're very jean oriented. Jeans were just created and discovered in America, so American Eagle is all about jeans. So they do stick with their standard colors, the navy, white, and the wood accents.
Yeah, so that takes a lot of planning and strategy
to
put together some retail branding. There's a
lot of details.
A lot of details to think about. I would love to learn about some of the different stores even and how their brandings evolved and did they talk to consumers? Did they do any surveys? How did they get feedback from their market to know?
I just remember from when I worked in retail that a lot of times they do consumer testing or they see what season, but also we have to think about with retail, everything changes pretty much monthly. Seasonally for sure, but what they call as floor sets is when they change out the clothing, and it's almost every 6 weeks. So think about that. You're changing a lot of your materials, your print materials, your style every few weeks.
That sounds expensive.
It is, and that's why, they have so much of it, but they also are corporate, so
Right. Well, that's really interesting. The last kind of branding that we're going to talk about is co-branding. Now, this is just really another way to say collaboration.
Right.
So there are some big names that come together on products that you've probably seen, but not really correlated with being,
Right. I think when most people think of collaborations nowadays, they think of their influencers collabing with brands, which is true, but what it really started out with is brands working together with another brand. For example, Nike and Apple. The biggest thing was the Apple Watch, and they worked with Nike to brand it and to kind of work on all of that. So that was a big one that came out, and there are so many more, but a lot of times they're a little bit more understated.
Right. So what are some of the benefits of doing a co-branded project then?
A lot of times I've noticed it's companies where there are two different spheres. So Apple is technology, Nike is athletics and sports. So they work well together because they capture two different audiences. They capture the technological world, but they also capture those people who love sports and activities and outdoors and all of that sort of thing.
So there's a mutual beneficial relationship there where they might have some overlap in who they're trying to reach, but maybe they're just wanting to come in front of everyone's eyes and also just show that businesses of all sizes can support each other and work together.
And not even that, it's also creating something exciting for those clients and customers who like both things, and it gets everyone excited, and up for something new. So
Yeah, a little innovation.
yeah,
I like it.
which is always great. Something fresh, something new, and something to look forward to. I think is the biggest thing too. Is why everyone always looks forward to the next new up and coming thing from Apple and Nike, truly too.
Right. So they both had such big loyal followings that, of course, that was going to be a huge success.
Right.
But
No
they did.
brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the different types of branding, and hopefully that was really interesting to the people watching out there. So if you liked learning about the different types of branding, go ahead and give us a little like or heart reaction. Share it with someone you know who's thinking about branding their business and needs to learn a little bit more about how to move forward. And then we're gonna come back next week, of course.
Yeah.
With
I'm not quite sure what's on the schedule. But we will let you guys know. If you have any questions,
right.
Put
Any
them down
questions,
below.
comments? We'll take them. We're happy to help you out and answer any questions you might have. And shameless self-promotion real quick. If you're local here in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area, we have some events coming up that are pretty exciting. And so Tuesday night, we're hosting a female founders dinner that is run through Civic Dinners organization and Facebook. And there's information on our events tab for that. It is for female entrepreneurs. We're going to talk about the relationship that we have with money and funding our businesses. Ooh, yeah. We're going to have some good, vulnerable conversations and just open, honest sharing and share our resources and tools and tips and best advice for each other. So that'll be really fun. And then Thursday next week, we also have Facebook, marketing your business on Facebook for intermediate users. So that is where we go through the kind of next level. After you've optimized your page on the front end and the back end, you have a good idea of what kinds of content to share. This is the next step of how do you get the most out of Facebook marketing.
Really optimize it.
Right, we go through kind of the advertising manager, the different types of ads available, talk about insights and using that data and analytics to make sure that you're really sharing content that resonates so you know what works and what doesn't and how to change that.
Right.
Talk about niche groups, an array of things. There's an event on our Facebook page for that as well with way more details. So go ahead and check those out. There's also a content cohort next Thursday afternoon. You can come in, pick our brains, and sit with us for a couple hours and plan out your content for your website, your emails, your social media, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And you get to use some of our really cool tools like our photo light box if you have products to photograph. If you need a good
Our ring light.
Yeah, our ring light that we got
Currently
propped up
using.
here right now. If you need a new LinkedIn profile image or something of that nature real quick, you can use some of our tools and resources. So, and it's a fun environment where very different businesses kind of come in and sit down and meet each other and build new relationships too. So
Great for networking.
yeah, absolutely. But anyway, thanks for tuning in for another Fri YAY.
Oh, yay.
Hope everyone has a lovely weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.